Morning! This is the Victor Wilt Show. People are really scared of haunted houses, and not like the Lost Souls attractions or the Haunted Mill. Like we're talking supposedly real haunted houses. Was just reading that according to a study, if you were offered $1 million to stay in a haunted house by yourself or $10,000 to stay in a haunted house with friends, 56% of people said they would rather go for the 10 G's than stay in a haunted house by themselves for $1 million. What? If anybody wants to offer me $1 million to stay in, you find the creepiest haunted house out there. I'm sure I'd be grossed out if it's all dilapidated, filled with spiders and bugs. Hopefully I can bring a cot so I don't have to put a sleeping bag on the floor. But for $1 million, yeah, 10 G's that would be, to most people, life-changing. And I know you might be listening. Those of you rolling in the dough going, 10 G's, life-changing. I tell you what, it would be for me. That would help out a lot. But $1 million would be better. So I just have to suck it up and, if need be, put the sleeping bag on the ground. I would certainly be much more concerned about the bugs and spiders and whatever else than the ghosts, all right? I can kick it with some ghosts. They're disembodied people. You can talk to them. You might be able to convince them, hey, do ghosts hurt people? I guess it just depends. Don't tend to hear a lot of stories about people being killed by ghosts. They're just frightened by them. They're scared. So, take a little fright for $1 million. Again, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised by the survey results because a lot of these, creepy haunted houses, they're in pretty rough shape, and it's going to be uncomfortable to sleep there. It's not going to be great, but it's just one night, $1 million. Yeah, bring it on. But if the only option was 10 grand and friends, I'd take that as well. There's plenty of things I wouldn't do for 10 G's, but stay in a haunted house? Yeah, for sure. Man, there are some bothersome stories out there in the news today. Jeez. I was trying to find something fun to talk about, and then I read about this guy in Canada who was found dead inside a walk-in bakery oven at Walmart. Ugh. Oh, sorry, it was a woman. My bad. Now, police are saying the cause and manner of death have not been determined yet. They call the investigation complex. Say the investigation may take a significant amount of time. That is horrifying. Ugh. This could easily be foul play, but what if it was an accident? Okay, sorry. I should have probably just kept that story to myself, but it was, so wild. Got my brain going in so many different directions. Just kind of had to bring it up. I didn't have to. It's kind of unnecessary to bring it up. Is there anything more pleasant out there today? Sorry, I had to read that whole article and it got me distracted. Okay, this one's a little more fun. The guy's in trouble for it, but this is why you just got to call the cops. 52-year-old Neil Greenwood, a farmer in England, spotted a couple teenagers on his land. So instead of calling the cops, letting them know about the trespassers, crept up behind them, tackled them to the ground, hog-tied them, strapped them down to his four-wheeler, one on the front, one on the back, and then drove them 4 miles to the nearest police station to turn them in. He ended up being charged with false imprisonment and assault. See, this is what happens if you play too much Red Dead. I hogtied a guy just last night. Just running all over the place with him on my horse. You know, he made me mad. So sometimes you gotta hog tie him. No, he was actually a fugitive. I was, working as a bounty hunter. Lots of great video game cosplay if you want to be a cowboy. All you need is Red Dead in your life. It was a fun evening. Very satisfying last night. What else are you gonna do on a rainy day? Huh? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but that turned it around a little bit, right? Sorry about the first story. I am going to remind you every single day up until the election, which is about a week and a half away, to get out and vote. Well, see these naysayers online. My vote doesn't matter. I don't vote. It's very important to get out and vote, all right? If everybody who is eligible to vote got out and did so, everybody who is registered to vote got out and did so, who knows how our elections could go? Election turnout always sucks, and it always kind of blows my mind because it's easy. You can go vote today. Yeah, early voting going on. Do yourself a little bit of research. What I recommend doing is pulling up the sample ballot for your county. You can find that on your local county voting website. Just use Google if you're in Bonneville County. Bonneville County sample ballot. Bam. Pull it up and look at it. And as you go through it, if you're like, well, I don't know who these people are, do a little bit of research on them. Find out what they're all about. Then you can make an educated decision on what you want to do as far as the local races go. Of course, you got the big presidential election happening, and there are a number of local initiatives that are on the ballot as well. And, I mean, your vote certainly matters when it comes to all of our local races and local initiatives. So, and it matters for the presidential election too. I know we live in a state where it tends to go one direction, but don't just feel like, well, my vote don't matter, because I read in the Life in Idaho Falls group that, I'm in the, minority here as far as my political beliefs go. Still get out and let your voice be heard, all right? If you haven't registered to vote yet, you can register at the polls in Idaho, even on Election Day. Just bring a utility bill, your ID, some kind of proof of residency, and your ID. They'll get you registered. You fill out your ballot, boom, you're done. And then, before we know it, the election will finally be over with, and everything's going to get back to normal, right? People are going to settle down, and I really hope it's a tame post-election process, but we live in a wacky world. So anyway, get out and vote. I'm just going to remind everybody each day until we get there. It's important. It's easy to register. It's easy to do. But make sure to educate yourself. And don't forget, you can vote for whoever you want. Don't let people tell you how to vote. It's your personal choice, what you do, and nobody knows who you're voting for when you're in that box. So don't let, people bully you in a certain direction. You do what you think is right, and get your vote out there, okay? Vote, fools, vote! Holy cow, got another brutal story, but this one doesn't end in death, okay? So don't worry, it's not like the Walmart oven story from earlier. Still pretty terrifying. This guy from Ireland, he's a rock climber, and apparently he fell off a volcano, fell 650 feet. You'd think he dead, right? I mean, that's a long fall, all right? 650 feet. No, this guy just suffered a few cuts and bruises. And when rescuers went out to try to find this guy who, he was missing, they found him, and he's just hanging out under a rock, kicked back. He's a little sore, but he's just puffing down on a cigar. Like, hey, good to see you guys. Glad you finally made it. I didn't prepare an Irish accent, but holy cow. I think if I fell off a 650-foot cliff, I'd just be sitting there crying or something. Why? Why does this happen to me? This is why you shouldn't go out hiking alone. Well, I mean, he still could have fallen off of the cliff hiking by himself, but at least you would have got the rescuers out there quicker in case it wasn't just a few cuts and bruises. So, yeah, they rescued him. He was fine. So he just went back to his hotel and kicked back, hanging out by the pool. Like, all right, I fell off a cliff. No biggie. Irish, man. They're tough. Well, here's something that you're probably not going to see at a Spud Kings game over at the Mountain America Center. Zamboni driver in western Quebec arrested on suspicion of impaired driving. So he's out on the Zamboni, which they don't travel at a high speed, thankfully. And this guy, he was all hammered up apparently, smashed into the boards, the side rails at a rink in Quebec while cleaning up the ice between two games. Totally threw myself off there with the flub. Usually the flubs I can barrel right through, but not that one apparently. Anyway, if you want to see video of this, it's online. You can see a referee skating alongside the machine and the driver as it just smashes into the wall with a loud crash. Thankfully, nobody injured. The thing travels at like 2 miles per hour, but it did do some damage, and he ended up going to jail. I don't know if he got a DUI. This might be a question for Lieutenant Crane on traffic school later today. Can you get a DUI on a Zamboni? I better make note of that, because even if traffic school's in an hour and a half, I'll forget by then. Drunk driving Zamboni. Find out here. Yeah, don't drink and drive. Even if you're only planning on traveling at 2 to 3 miles per hour, you could still do some damage. I mean, a Zamboni, that could certainly kill somebody. It's a large machine, all right? And that doesn't sound like a pleasant way to go. Just slowly being mowed over by a Zamboni because the driver's hammered. But if a drunk Zamboni driver does smash into you, make sure to call my friends at the Advocates Injury Attorneys. They can be reached 24/7 at 208-471-4444. Yeah, even on Halloween Day, if you want to get a hold of the Advocates. Because, I don't know, somebody with a Halloween mask is driving around, can't see what they're doing, and they smash into you. Hit up the Advocates. They'll ensure that all of your legal stuff is handled properly and you get a good settlement, and they won't charge you a penny until your case is settled. And they power traffic school, which again is coming up in about an hour and a half, hour and 45, every Friday morning, 8:45 a.m. Traffic school powered by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. I hope you'll take part in the show today. Always a lot of fun kicking it with my homie, Lieutenant Crane. I like to think that I enjoy emotionally distressing films, but I don't know, maybe I don't as I get older. I was reading through a post online about films you immediately regretted watching because they were too emotionally distressing. And so I got thinking about movies like that, like Requiem for a Dream, for example. I've watched that movie a lot of times, but it has been many, many years since I've done so, because you always walk away from it feeling dirty, it's disturbing. And all of the times recently I tried to fire up a disturbing film, I ended up turning it off. Requiem for a Dream is an example. I started watching it one night, and within the first 5 minutes, I turned it off when Jared Leto's character comes in and is taking his mom's TV. This is not a spoiler because it's the first scene of the movie. But I was like, oh, this show is bad. There's going to be nothing good that happens in this movie. So I turned it off. Another instance of this, I don't know if this movie would be emotionally distressing, but it was certainly disturbing right out of the gate. I turned on, because I haven't watched it, Human Centipede 3. And within the first few minutes, I'm like, all right, I'm not in the right mind state for this, because it was just vile immediately. So I don't know if I can do it anymore. I recently watched Hereditary again. That's an emotionally distressing film, but I don't think it's as emotionally distressing as Requiem for a Dream. I don't know. I'm looking through this list here, and a lot of these movies I haven't heard of. So I don't know if I should put them on the to-be-watched list. Dancer in the Dark. This is a very popular response on this post. I've never heard of this movie. Let's see. 2000 musical psychological tragedy film, and it stars Bjork. Never heard of it. But based on the responses, it's got to be pretty bad. Got to be pretty bad. I got to note these films. Okay, now one of the next responses was The Fox and the Hound. Now, when I was a kid, that movie certainly did bother me. It's not very happy. But I wasn't thinking in the realm of kids' films. We've talked about kids' films that messed you up, like, The Never-Ending Story, or for me, that All Dogs Go to Heaven. That movie terrified me as a child. I hate that movie. I don't think I ever showed it to my kids because it bothered me so much as a child. What else do we have here? Seven. See, I don't think Seven's that emotionally distressing. Eden Lake. Okay, I recently watched that. And it's a pretty dark, brutal horror movie. I was not as emotionally bothered by it as a lot of people seem to be. I've read lots of different pieces of commentary on the movie Eden Lake, and I was expecting it to be much worse. Now, I'm not saying this is a horror movie for everybody, but yeah, I don't know. So far, I'm not seeing any Requiem for a Dream on this list. Somebody just put Mother with an exclamation point, which is another movie I watched recently. That movie didn't emotionally distress me. It was, it might have given me a little bit of anxiety. It's kind of overwhelming. I thought it was a great movie. It was awesome. I'd never watched a movie like that. There were a couple scenes that were pretty brutal, but for the most part, I thought it was going to be like a horror movie. And I don't think I'd call it that, but it's a masterpiece. It's actually from the director of Requiem for a Dream. I don't remember which streaming service it's on. I want to say maybe Paramount, but I thought it was really good. But if you deal with a lot of anxiety, you might not want to watch it, simply because it's a little bit overwhelming. That's the only way I can describe it, is overwhelming. Not necessarily disturbing, but it was great. It was great. Let's see. Somebody named a movie called Come and See. Haven't ever heard of that one either. Or Funny Games. Killing of a Sacred Deer is a movie I watched fairly recently. There's a little bit of anxiety in that movie. It's dark. It's not pleasant. It's kind of weird. Most people would probably not enjoy Killing of a Sacred Deer. And it doesn't have to do anything with hunting. Okay? Just want to throw that out there. But it's a real slow burn A24 movie. The characters make decisions in it that are aggravating and kind of confusing. And yeah, it's got a little bit of anxiety going on, but what else do we got here? Just trying to note emotionally disturbing movies. So when I'm sitting around like feeling bad about myself, I can throw those on and be like, well, it could be worse. Could be like this. This is how your life could be. All right. Grave of the Fireflies. Never heard of it. A documentary called Dear Zachary. Now that sounds familiar, but I have not seen it. And the person said it messed with them worse than any horror movie. If you ever do watch it, read the summary first so it won't hit you like a sack of hammers. Somebody responded to that by saying, agreed, I went in blind and it just kept getting worse. I don't like to know what I'm getting into before I watch it. I don't think I'd watch the summary. Dear Zachary. I don't know. I have watched some documentaries that were really bothersome. Anyway, this is a good thread for me here. I'm going to note all of these movies. Yeah. Here's one that's on my list. The Lodge. They say, it's a good film, but I kind of find it unwatchable. I think it's brilliant and brutal, but it's just too upsetting. Wouldn't say I regret having watched it, but I don't think I could ever watch it again. Like reading The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. I think it's a masterpiece. One of the most emotionally impacting books I've ever read. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever read. It's based on a true story, but, executed in a novel format. So it starts off like Stand By Me, by Stephen King, The Body. Kind of starts off with those kind of vibes. And boy, does it go downhill. Oh, so awful. And I'm grateful that I read it. I have the limited edition copy of it because, again, it's one of the most powerful books I've ever read. I think Stephen King said Jack Ketchum, the writer, was the most terrifying writer ever. And Stephen King actually did the intro for that book, but I don't recommend it to people. It's very, very upsetting. You're not going to feel good after you read that book. So I don't know. I don't know why I enjoy sometimes wrecking myself mentally, but I just do. Anyway, I'm going to note a bunch of these films, and if you have any other recommendations of movies like that, if you're into that kind of thing, you can call me and let me know. But again, that stuff's not for everybody, so I won't be surprised if nobody calls. I'm getting all ready for Freak News. We'll do that in like 10 minutes or so, but before we get to that, I want to remind you we've got a lot of cool stuff going on around here as far as giveaways go. Teamed up with Brent Gordon Law to give away a Nintendo Switch with Make the Switch. Yeah, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Daylight saving time. I hate it. I hate the time change. So stupid and annoying. So we know you're annoyed by it as well, and we want to make it a little bit better, and nothing better to do with that extra hour of time than do a little bit of gaming on your brand new Nintendo Switch bundle that you could win from K-Bear and Brent Gordon Law. All you got to do, sign up in the K-Bear app or the Alt app. Sign up once in each for your best odds. Again, that's only once in each. If you sign up more than once in each app, we toss the extra entries out, okay? So once per app. And if you're lucky, we will draw you as a winner of a Nintendo Switch bundle with Make the Switch with Brent Gordon Law. Enter now, and good luck. Freak News powered by Grease Monkey, voted Idaho's best oil change. If you have a pet hamster and you get bit by it, apparently you should, get into a doctor. Now, this article I read, I don't know for sure if it says anything about this actually being the reason that this mother died, but she was bitten by her child's pet hamster, and then not too long after, she just keels over and, she's gone. Can hamster bites kill you? That's terrifying. Cute little hamsters. Got them, square teeth. I've been bit by a hamster before. My daughters had hamsters when they were younger, and it does hurt because the teeth they're flat, Flat and sharp. Sucks. But I didn't know potential death could result from that. Now, they are still doing an autopsy and things like that, but kind of weird. I guess people can be allergic to hamsters. They could also have, bacterial infections or, in rare cases, rabies. So if you get bit by a hamster, scrub that wound immediately. And if you start feeling weird, get to the doctor ASAP. That's kind of crazy. Haven't ever heard anything about that. And again, I don't know if that's why she died, but she got bit and then she died. Spooky. All right, what else do we have here? Yet another story of someone being jailed in Florida for chucking spaghetti at somebody in an argument. What is going on with spaghetti in Florida? This has to be the fourth or fifth story in the last couple months, specifically about spaghetti being used as a weapon. Is this an endless homage to Eminem? Yeah? I don't know. But I guess if you're in an argument in Florida, be aware, spaghetti might be coming at your face. It could be much worse. Yeah. Spaghetti, depending on the dish that it's in as it's being chucked at you, could or could not be a terrible thing to take to the face. If it's a handful of spaghetti, that ain't bad at all. But a nice glass plate. Yeah, unpleasant. Well, all right, what else do we have here? Oh, let's talk about aliens. This is from The Mirror in the UK. Alien signal could contain terrible truth as fears rise over imminent announcement. Many UFO researchers convinced that the U.S. government is concealing the truth about extraterrestrial contact, but that there could be a deeply disturbing reason for that. Ooh. Yeah, you know, the government's been fairly open with UFO stuff in the last few years. Like, check it out. Look at the Tic Tac UFO. That was filmed by the military. We don't know what it is. But what if they do know? And they're not telling us because, you know, we got some kind of a message from an alien civilization. Yeah, that's what this guy's saying, that there was a message which contained non-human technological signatures which were detected by an Australian radio telescope, and that this message, you know, it might have something dark to it, might have something scary, a truth too terrible to be told, but that terrible truth could be released by the government any day, so get ready for it. Now, got somebody calling. I guess I can see what they want. K-Bear, hi, who's this? You're live on the show.
Hey, no, this is Ron. I was just calling in, see if I can make a simple request for my birthday.
I guess since it's your birthday, I'll forgive you for not calling in on the topics we're discussing, and maybe I'll play your birthday request. So,
you know, I thought I'd take a shot.
what do you want to hear, dude?
You know, Halloween, I hear Super Beast by Rob Zombie.
All right, give me a few, I'll get her going, and happy birthday.
Yeah. Awesome, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Peace.
Bye.
No call screener up in this place. That's right. I was reading a thread online the other day about radio shows and, you know, they don't ever take live callers. No radio person in their right mind would put a live caller on the air, especially without a screener. Well, that person is me, all right? Radio DJs just learn how to navigate callers and try to make it a little bit entertaining, you know? It was one of the first things I learned in radio. Don't ever put somebody live on air. So what do you think I did first opportunity I got? Yeah, I put somebody live on air. It's like, this is the radio. Oh, now we got somebody else calling. Okay, well, let's see what they want. K-Bear, you're live on the show. Who's this?
Hey, Victor, it's Trent. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. What's happening?
Good. So just while you're talking about hamsters there, how people are talking about how they, you know, get bit by hamsters and keel over, do you know how many people accidentally throw away their hamsters every year because they think they're dead and they don't know that hamsters hibernate?
Dude, this is kind of crazy, but I actually learned about that because of my daughters having hamsters. And yeah, they had their bedrooms in the basement, and so it was probably, you know, winter around here, cool in the basement. Yeah. And yeah, we thought one of the hamsters had died because it just went into a hibernation state, and then once it got warmed up, it woke back up. It was crazy because it looked dead.
Oh yeah, isn't that wild?
It is wild, and it was very disturbing. So yeah, if you have hamsters, as winter approaches, you know, just don't toss them out like the caller mentioned. They could potentially be okay and just hibernating, but do some Googling on it. It blew my mind. Exactly. I had never heard of that prior to, you know, upset children. And we're like, what happened? The hamster was fine yesterday. So.
Yeah. No, I worked at a pet store for a while, and so many people didn't know that. It was wild.
Yeah. I didn't, you know, learn that when we bought the hamsters. I found out, thankfully, before, bad situation.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, appreciate you getting that info out.
Of course, absolutely. Hey, while you're taking requests, have you guys started playing Stay Weird by the Funeral Portrait yet?
We've been pushing the big single that they're working to radio. Suffocate City. You know, they're trying to make it to number one. I think they're at like number 2. So okay. I haven't played that one, but if it would be a good Halloween fit or something, I've got the album here in the studio, so I could rip a copy and, you know,
I'll let you make that call, but it's a fantastic song, and I think it's one of the next singles they're going to be pushing.
All right. Cool, man. I haven't listened to the full album yet. I've been meaning to, so I'll definitely check that song out.
I highly recommend it.
All right. Cool, man. Appreciate the recommendation.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, have a good day.
You too, man. Peace.
All right, bye.
You know what I find kind of suspicious here? Kind of suspicious. The minute I started talking about the secret message, the secret dark and disturbing message from the aliens, a truth too terrible to be told. The minute I started talking about that, we start getting all these distracting calls. I see what you callers are up to. You're working for the government. You're trying to keep me distracted because you know I'm forgetful. No, I'll remind everybody, we're not really going to get some kind of big, government expose on the truth about aliens anytime soon. All right. It would throw people into too big of a panic. Actually, half the people wouldn't believe it anyway. They could show video, people would be like, that's AI. I've seen a lot of videos making the rounds recently where people just say, no, that's AI. And it's like, no, that's a real video. No, it's AI. It's hilarious. The real things that people won't believe and the dumb fake things that people do. We have truly moved into a world like the movie Idiocracy. So just go ahead and tell us about the aliens. It's really amazing what some people in positions of authority will do and think like, this is no big deal. Think they're going to just get away with it. Nobody's going to care or find out. Like politicians doing sleazy things, hanging out with terrible people. Well, this was a high school principal. Apparently went to a party, some kind of New Year's Eve party, at which there were lots of underage students. And, well, he decided to help them out in their getting hammered by being filmed on video, holding up a beer bong for a couple students aged 16 and 17. Now, if you're not familiar with what a beer bong is, it's a funnel attached to a hose. You pour the beer in, and then you just slam it down as fast as humanly possible. It's a very unhealthy behavior, but young partiers do it. However, they generally don't have the local elementary school principal assisting them in the process. Yeah, people have cameras, all right? Did he not notice the people holding up the phones? And again, even if there were no phones flying around, like, what are you thinking, you moron? Yeah, he's being charged with providing minors with alcohol. And I don't know if he's been booted from the job. The article doesn't say anything about any kind of suspension or anything like that, just that he's been charged with providing minors with alcohol. And they're asking if anyone has additional information about him engaging in alcohol-related activities with minors. Call the cops and let us know. I think the video of him holding up the beer bong for him should be sufficient to deal with any kind of charges. But yeah, if he's willing to do that in front of a camera, there could be all kinds of terrible things going on. So I don't really have any way to wrap that up other than, what an idiot. And, if you're in a position of power, like, try to be a model for how people should be. Try to set a good example. I mean, I think sadly, there are too many people out there that are setting a terrible example and basically being rewarded for it, that, people have gotten a little bit more unhinged in their decision making. But, geez, this guy's a total puddinhead. So last week, after the morning show, we had Rulin from No Limit Guitar Company in to draw a winner for the Schecter Avenger Standard electric guitar we were giving away. We are not doing that today. You might be going, no, what? I thought you're giving away an awesome guitar and amp package. We are, but we're not drawing a winner until Halloween. So you've still got time, if you haven't yet done so, to enter to win the prize package that I want and cannot have. I'm so jealous of all of these awesome guitar giveaways that we've been hooking all of you listeners up with. Where are the prizes I can win? I don't know. I guess I could try to call into some other radio station giveaways, but they never give away cool stuff like this. They give away like, here's a $10 gift certificate to go get yourself lunch. All right, well, that seems like a lot of work for, a $10 gift certificate. I want to win stuff like what K-Bear gives away. Like the current prize package of an ESP Aero 200. It's an LTD guitar. ESP LTD guitars have become my favorite, my go-to brand. And I don't have a Flying V style guitar, so I would certainly love that, but I'm not eligible. And if you win that guitar, you also win a PRS Sonzera 20 combo amp from the fine folks at No Limit Guitar Company. Super easy to get in to win, too. Fire up the K-Bear app or fire up the Alt app, fill out the form, and boom, you're in to win. Now, even if you don't play guitar, we got Christmas right around the corner. Do you know, for the guitar playing person in your family or your guitar playing friends, how amazing of a friend you'd be if you gifted them a $1,700 guitar and amp package for Christmas? Yeah, you're going to win Christmas. So even if you don't play, you might as well enter to win. The K-Bear app and the Alt app, again, the places to do so. But another place you can enter is by going to No Limit Guitar Company and purchasing an item to get an extra entry into the drawing. They got a lot of different stuff in there. You buy yourself a grand piano. I mean, they've got all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's their big 6th-year birthday bash this entire month. So great deals going on. If you're in the market for gear, you've only got about a week to go as far as the big sale goes. So now is the time to get in, pick up whatever you've been needing in the gear world, and get that extra entry to win not only that ESP Aero 200 guitar with the PRS Sonzera 20 combo amp, but we've got other prizes that we're giving away with No Limit as well. You might win yourself a Yamaha amp, might win yourself a ukulele, might win a sweet guitar overdrive pedal or an acoustic pickup for your acoustic guitar from Fishman. It's like the dream acoustic pickup if you're an acoustic player that can't currently plug your acoustic guitar in. So piles of amazing prizes with my homie Rulin and the fine team at No Limit Guitar Company. Get in to win right now. Fire up that K-Bear app, fire up the Alt app, and enter to win. I think I figured out one of the reasons I like the city of Phoenix so much. And I think I've talked about this on air before as speculation from my own perspective. But if you go to a major city, like a really big city, and Phoenix, I think it's like market number 10 or something. It's a really big metro area. Generally, if you're in an area with that many people, driving is so aggravating. I hate traffic. I cannot stand it. If I'm stopped and I got somewhere I need to be, you're speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. You're worried about accidents happening, reckless drivers, and it's just annoying. Phoenix, as far as a big city goes, it is the best place as far as driving. Now, I have been slowed down in Phoenix. There are millions of people in that metro area. But you compare it to any other major city that I've ever been in, it is just so great. And I thought it was just maybe me. Like maybe I've got some type of bias because I do like Arizona, and so maybe I'm looking for an excuse. But I've also pointed out that like Vegas, for example, freeway travel in Vegas is a lot better than many major cities. Anyone who's been to Southern California knows what I'm talking about. It's a horrible place to drive. It's just a nightmare. But as I was scrolling Reddit, I found a post where a guy was talking about just getting back from New England and driving around. And I didn't really notice this when I was in New England. Or I guess I didn't pay attention to it. I did notice, but toll roads all over the place cost you a lot of money, to go to and fro. And it's a lot of, certainly a lot of traffic, but 2-lane freeways that, sometimes you're wondering why aren't there like tons of lanes here? And the cities and towns are never ending. There's like no wide open spaces between everything. You're just kind of stuck in endless areas of lots and lots of people. And it takes a long time to get anywhere. And the most aggressive driver I've ever seen in my life was in New York City. I couldn't believe this guy, whipping between cars at an insanely high speed. It was wild. I mean, I've seen some idiots in Utah driving, but nothing like that one particular driver. The only time I've been to New York City for, half of a day. It was crazy. So, if you're looking to road trip, I got to say, if you've never been to Phoenix, we're entering that time of year where Phoenix is like perfect. It gets to be just beautiful during the winter months, which is why there are people who move down to Arizona for 6 months out of the year. If I can ever strike it rich, I'd like to be one of those people because I've had it with winter. I've lived here my whole life. I'm not a fan. When I left my house today and saw the frost on the lawn, I was like, no. But anyway, I think I might have to get down to Phoenix. Has it cooled down there yet? I don't know if it has. No, it has not. How crazy. Phoenix looking at a high today of 97 and 100 tomorrow. Oh, but next week it starts cooling down into the 70s. Mention I'm going to be going to Vegas soon. Maybe I, keep driving. Would much rather hang out in Phoenix than Vegas myself, but that's just me. Vegas, another place that's great during winter. You don't want to visit during summer. Winter is where it's at. Just don't go the week that, Crane and I were talking about when you have the big car show in town, jacking up the rates. I've touted Vegas as a very cheap place to go on vacation. Time it right. Don't be like me and my homie Nick. Timed it horribly. Might have to get that air mattress for the back of the pickup. That might be my hotel. Peaches, we were just talking with James from Tennessee off air, and I wish I would have kept him on the line because what I was going to go into actually deals with something that I believe is a down south thing that I noticed recently. I mentioned to you, I've been watching this show called The Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, yeah.
Really good show with Danny McBride and a bunch of other really funny people in it. And one of the things in this show that me and Judith noticed, and you see this in other shows from time to time, or occasionally in real life, is grown men who call their dad daddy.
Yeah, it's very weird, isn't it?
It's weird to me. And it seems like I've never heard anyone around here do it, as far as I know.
I think they, at some point, changed to pop. I never understood calling your dad your old man. It seems...
but that...
sad to me.
To me, daddy is what, like, a toddler calls...
Definitely.
A dad. Like, if one of my kids called me daddy, I'd be like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? Don't ever say that again. But, you see... And in this show, it's very exaggerated, But it's not the first time I've seen it. It always just feels so strange to me when you see grown men, like, talking about daddy. I don't know. I was going to ask James, is that a down south thing? Because he called to talk to us about the Hoktua girl. Haley Welch, is that her name?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah. And because you had speculated, you thought she might have a fake accent, and he was saying, no, that's what people down here talk like.
She exaggerates it almost to a point.
But I don't know. I've been to like the Dallas, Texas airport, for example, and you walk up to the ticket counter, and that accent, man, sometimes that southern accent, you would think it's fake, but it's just that way, man. It's different from people in other regions of the country who have a southern accent. Because you'll meet people around here who talk with a southern accent. Occasionally I'll slip into it.
It almost seems fake around here. Because how is this a southern state?
I don't, it's not a southern state. It's just one of those weird accents.
Is that country life?
It must be
Howdy, y'all.
Rural. Yeah, because I'll say y'all and stuff like that. This might be James calling us back.
Make sure to turn the bed off. That blasts over the phone.
K-Bear, you're live on the show. Keep that in mind. Who's this?
Hey, this is John.
John, what's up, man? What's on your
Howdy,
mind?
John.
Howdy, partner.
Not much. I actually lived in the South for a few years, a little while ago, and Daddy, as far as kids calling their parents that when they're older, it's common, I found when I lived there, for a lot of women to refer to their dad still as Daddy when they were older.
And I guess it
men,
seems...
it's not as common, but for women, it was really common that I saw.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem as... There's just something about when I hear a guy, like in that show, Righteous Gemstones, it's Danny McBride. You know, he's, my daddy, blah, 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 blah.
Do you have the song library pulled up there?
Yeah.
For 105 Legends, do we have Conway Twitty in the system?
We have some, yeah.
Do you have That's My Job?
Let's see. Conway Twitty. Yeah, we've got it.
Okay. Pull that song up.
All right, it's a long song. So where in it do I need to go?
It might be near the beginning of when he's might be the first chorus.
All right, hang on. My apologies for playing Conway Twitty, listeners.
On his door, and I said, Daddy,
There you go. That's a grown man screaming about his daddy.
Yeah, it's got to be a regional thing because it's just strange to me. So we're just curious, man, or I'm just curious if that's a Southern thing or what, because it just is so odd to me.
It is definitely a Southern thing from what I know. The other thing, too, is that some Southern families are very, very tight-knit to the point that it's almost weird, but it could stem from that, too, that they stay very close.
They're so tight-knit, they're dating each other.
All right, Peaches, settle down. I was like, caller, please don't go in a certain direction.
Sorry.
I wasn't taking it there. You can blame Peaches for that.
Yeah, that's Peaches' fault.
But yeah, that could be part of it too, is that it's a very close-knit kind of family orientation.
All right, man. Well, just one of those weird things I noticed that kept grating on my nerves watching that show. Like, stop calling your dad. And everyone in the show, every single character calls their dad daddy.
It just drives me nuts when somebody says pop instead of soda. Like,
see, I don't mind. I don't.
Bothers me.
That doesn't bother me at all. Because it seems like when I was younger, it was more common to hear it called pop around here than soda. So,
in the South, don't they call like every soda Coke?
That's what I've heard, but I don't know if that's true. John, you say your name is?
Yep.
Does everyone?
I've heard Coke for a lot of different sodas, and I wasn't born and raised there. I just lived there for a few years, and I would ask for a Sprite, and people would be like, "Do you want a Coke?" And I was like, "No, a Sprite." And they're like, "Yeah, Coke." And I seriously almost got into a fist fight over it at one point.
They're very different sodas. What's a soda?
Well, I know in the South, too, they also put peanuts in the Coke bottle.
I've heard of that. I've never tried it, but I think it was another down.
There's a little bit of input from someone who lived in the South, wasn't born there. It does happen. It is a little weird, but once you live there for a while, it's just part of the lingo.
All right. Just curious, something I noticed and was like, that's strange. There was a news story that reminded me about this, which the news story was much weirder, but I'm not going to get into that. So
not on there anyway.
Nope. Well, appreciate it, man. Hope you have a great weekend.
Yep, no problem. I'm going to listen to the rest of the show for it. So
right on, dude. With it. Peace.
You know that Rammstein song, Radio is what they call it?
Yeah.
I call my dad Daddy-O because of that song. I go,
Daddy-O. That's pretty close to calling your dad Daddy. It's pretty close. K-Bear, you're live on the show. Who's this?
This is James from Tennessee calling you back.
Okay, James, what's up? I'm sorry that I said that you and the Hawk to a girl talk the same.
Jeez.
No, you're good. No, that's actually a fair point. I think we're probably pretty close, actually.
Where's James's Talk to a podcast? We need to have him do one.
James should go on the Talk to a podcast.
I'm not on that same wavelength at all.
Now, James, does she do that podcast in Nashville?
I have no idea. I've never listened to it.
She's from Belfast, Tennessee, I think.
Okay, because I bet it. Sorry, James, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. That's Nashville, though. Belfast is Nashville.
Okay.
Because
right there.
I'd go on her show. She seems like she'd be like talking to Katie Lee, which Katie Lee's gotten mad when I've said that before too. But I think we've grown up.
What I was calling back about though was your daddy.
Oh, okay, James. Do you call your dad daddy?
No, I do not.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
However,
Papa.
you're pronouncing it wrong. It's actually Diddy.
It's Diddy.
I don't know if you want to call anyone that.
I don't know. It's Diddy. Like, that's the pronunciation. That's where that came from originally.
My Diddy. You're right.
Diddy.
That's how Danny McBride says it in the show.
Hey, Diddy, what are you all doing later on tonight?
My Diddy.
And I know in the South, it's not baby oil. It's like baby oil.
Y'all's enunciations are all wrong. That's the problem.
Okay, well, thank you for correcting us, James. Now I get it.
Why did Conway Twitty go, Daddy, in that one song?
Well, that's because Conway Twitty couldn't sing.
Well, you have an awesome weekend, James. Always good to hear from you, man.
Right on, guys. Have a good one.
You
Right
too.
on, peace.
Well, we learned a lesson
We did.
from a real Southerner.
My Diddy. It's Diddy.
My Diddy. You need to release a country song called that. See what happens.
Oh, it would be a little bit too vile for radio. that's for
Justin
sure.
goes, hey, here's a new one from Victor Wilt. My Diddy.
My Diddy. All right, gonna get on out of here. We'll be back at noon for the noon hour of madness and mayhem, powered by Jalisco's. Y'all have a good weekend.
Hey,
Here?
drink some pop.
Drink some pop, and make sure to call and say hi to your daddy if he's around, because, you never know when your daddy's going to no longer be around, like my daddy. All right, anyway, we're out of here. Thank you again for tuning in to the Victor Welch Show. This program's a production of River. Why can't I say that? God.
To say Riverbend Media Group.
Riverbend Media Group. This program's a production of God. This program's a production of Riverbend Media Group. To contact the show or for more information, hit us up at riverbendmediagroup.com.